Most systems run one model. The same data you write is the data you read back, and all from a single database. That would work for a long time, but at some point your reads and your writes start wanting different things. The shape that's clean to write is awkward to your query, and heavy reads start competing with your writes for the same database. The fix is CQRS. You separate the model you write from the model you read. But the real question is how far to take it, and that's exactly what this video is all about. So let's get started. When does splitting your reads from your writes earn its cost? And when is one model the right call? That question is what this whole video answers. We will follow one system the whole way, a project board where people create, assign, and move issues. That's the right side, with lots of people changing the same data at once. The board views and the dashboards are the reads, and they need that data in a different shape. Most teams treat CQRS as a switch. They flip on for the whole app, but it's closer to a dial, with settings that run from one shared model up to a separate store kept in sync by events. Picture that dial as a staircase, with a line partway up where CQRS begins. You only climb as high as the pressure you are actually under. CQRS start with one idea. Use a different model to change data than the model you read it with. Picture two desks. The right desk handles the commands, the requests where someone wants to change something. For example, assign this issue to Dana, or move it to in review. It runs those past the rules first, then writes the result down as the source of truth. The reader desk does the opposite. It hands back a board card, already shaped for that screen, with no rules to run, just the rows you asked for. Two forces push you to split them. Many people editing the same data, and that data going stale the moment it's shown. This split comes in levels, and that's the part people miss. It started as a simple rule about method. A method should either change something or answer a question, but never do both. Greg Young took that idea up a level and named it CQRS. At its smallest, you split one model into two. Commands on one side, queries on the other, sitting on the same database. Microsoft calls that the foundational level of CQRS. Push further and two models move to separate stores kept in sync, which they call the more advanced version. So you get a dial. Separate methods, then separate models, then separate stores. Everything from separate models up is already CQRS. Start at the bottom of the staircase. One model serving both your reads and your writes. For most systems, this is the whole architecture. You write to one model and read straight back from the same model. When your rules are simple and traffic is low, that's exactly what you want, because there's nothing to keep in sync. Most systems should stop right here. You only climb the staircase when something specific forces you off this step. The first pressure is usually reads. They pile up, competing with your writes for the same database. The cheap fix is a read replica. You make an asynchronous copy of the database, point your reads at it, and the primary instance is free to handle writes again. But a replica is the small model, copied. It carries the exact same schema and it runs a little behind, so the reads can be slightly stale. On the dial, this barely moves the needle. You add throughput, but the read shape never changed. It is not CQRS yet. Now the pressure changes. The board doesn't want the same rows faster, it wants a different shape. A card with the assign's name and comment count. A copy cannot give you that. So you build a materialized view. Right inside the same database, you pre-compute those cards from the source rows and store them ready to read. The joins and the counting happening once, ahead of time. That view is a different model for reading, sitting right next to your write model. By the textbook definition, that is already CQRS, a single store CQRS, and most teams ship it without ever naming it. The catch is it doesn't update itself. You refresh it. So between refreshes, it runs a little stale. That small staleness is the cost we are about to make bigger. Climb one more step, and the read model moves out into its own store. You do this when reads need something your write database cannot serve well, like full text search or heavy aggregation. Now, the two slides live in a separate stores. Each change the writer make publishes an event, and that event is the slip a messenger carries across the gap to the read side. A projector on the read side takes each event and updates the board to match. This is full CQRS. Separate stores kept in sync by a stream of events. You bought real power here. A read store you can shape and scale on its own. You also bought a messenger, and that messenger takes time. This is the cost the split just bought. The moment the messenger starts walking, a meter starts counting the gap. If a query lands before the slip arrives, it reads the old value. The board is behind the truth for a moment, and that moment is the staleness window. This is eventual consistency. Under normal load, it's tiny, well under a second. But it is not a fixed number. During a deploy or a traffic spike, that window stretches. So you watch it rather than promise it. And notice where this appeared. Only when you split the stores. Update the read model in the same transaction, and the meter sits at 0. You will fill this lag first as a bug. A user drags an issue to done, the change succeeded, they refresh, and the card snap back in progress. This is read your own writes, and there's no free fix. You can take it on the client, showing the change from the command's own result. You can read that one issue straight from the right side, or you can tag the write with a version and make the read wait until the board catches up. Each one trades something, a bit of honestly, the decoupling you split for, or a little waiting. For most screens, the simplest answer wins. Show the person their own change right away and let everyone else catch up a bit later. The messenger has a hole in it. The naive way is 2 steps. Save to the database, then publish the event. If you crash in between or the broker is down, the write lands and the event is lost, and the board is wrong from then on. The fix is the transactional outbox. You write the event into an outbox table in the same transaction as the change. Now the event only exists if the write committed. Both drop into the same drawer in one motion. So either both are saved or neither is. A separate worker read that outbox later and hand the event to the messenger. Delivery and the write are still 2 steps, but the event cannot go missing because it was saved with the data in the same commit. The worker can drain that outbox in 2 ways. First one is polling. A job checks the outbox on a timer and publishes whatever new. It runs on any database, but ordering is tricky and it adds loads. Second is change data capture. Instead of polling, you tail the database commit log and forward each new outbox row the instant it lands. You get lower latency and events in order, but it's tied to the specific database you are running. One trap with capture. Point it at your business tables and it leaks your schema as row table changes. Point it at the outbox table instead, and you get clean, named events, the ones other services were meant to see. So polling runs on any database, but the ordering is weaker. Capture is faster and stays in order, but it's tied to your database. Either way, both read from the same outbox. The messenger has a catch. It delivers at least once, which means sometimes it delivers twice. a retry after a glitch, and the same event shows up again. So your projector has to be idempotent. Applying the same event twice should leave the board exactly as applying it once. The usual trick is to stamp each event with an ID or a version, and skip any you have already applied. Orders matter too, because you build the board by applying events one after another. Apply move it before created and you get a garbage. So you check the version and wait for the missing event rather than apply out of order. You get that by keying events on the issue itself. Every event for one issue stays on one ordered lane, while different issues run in parallel. The plumbing buy you something real. The read model is built from your events, so you can rebuild it from scratch. Need a new view, group it by assign, build it empty, reply the events in, and switch reads over with no downtime. One caveat, reply only works if you kept the history. An event-sourced store has it. A store that only keeps the current state has nothing to reply because it never saved the event. Snapshots let you start partway instead of from zero. And you have to watch the messenger. Projection lag is the gap between the newest event and the last one applied, and it's your best read on how stale the board is. When it spikes from a traffic surge, a slow projector, or a deploy that stales it, the backlog grows and the border falls further behind, so you set an alert on the lag. That reply trick raises a fair question. Isn't this just event sourcing? It is the most common mix-up there is. Treating CQRS and event sourcing as the same thing. They are two different patterns. CQRS splits your read model from your write model. Event sourcing stores the state as a log of events. You can do CQRS over a plain database with no event log anywhere. So why are they always paired together? Because an event log cannot answer, give me every issue, assign it to Dana. It has no current state to query, so an event sourced system needs a read model, and that read model is CQRS. The arrow only runs one way. Event sourcing pulls you towards CQRS, but CQRS need nothing from event sourcing, and that reply superpower was really event sourcing all along. The second myth trips up just as many teams, that splitting reads from writes is a clear architecture. So you should do it everywhere. Crank that dial to max across your whole system and the warning lights up. Stale reads, two stores, doublet code, harder debugging. The people who defined this pattern push back hard. Fowler says for most systems it adds risky complexity. Dan says you should avoid it most of the time. Young says it's not a top-level architecture, just a small tactical pattern. So you scoop it down. You apply CQRS inside the one part of the system where the pressure is real, and you leave the rest of it simple. The mistake is almost always using it everywhere. It's the same pattern with opposite result. Cheap in the one place that need it, expensive when you use it everywhere. Now you can put it all together. You have got the whole staircase. One model, then a read replica, the materialized view where CQRS began, and a separate store kept in sync by events on top. Climb when read and write shapes truly differ, when their scale pulls apart, when many people edit the same data, or when one source has to feed many views. Stay on one model for plain CRUD, for matched read and write, for low traffic, or when stale reads simply aren't acceptable. When you are unsure, go CQRS Lite first. Leave the write path alone. Add one read model for the query that hurts, and decline further only if the pressure proves real. There is no magic ratio here. No number that tells you when to split, so it stays a judgment call. For our board, the reads do need a different shape, and many people edit the same data. So a materialized view earns its place. A separate search store can wait until you actually need search or real scale. Think of CQRS as a dial you turn, only as far as you need. One model, then a read replica that's still one model, then a materialized view where CQRS begins, and finally, separate stores kept in sync by events. The moment you split the stores, you start paying a lag, and the outbox, idempotent projections, and reply are what keep that split honest. CQRS is not event sourcing, and splitting your data is not free architecture. Climb only to the lowest step that relieves your pressure. Start small and keep it to one corner of your system. If you remember one thing from this video, let it be this. Turn the dial only as far as your read and write pressure forces you. If this made CQRS clearer, subscribe, give it a like, and share it with someone. See you in the next video.